Hi, in this video I want to show you how I did two of the clips of a stable diffusion animation clip a couple days ago. And yeah, let me show you guys first the clip in question. So let's watch it together real quick. So yes, this was the video that I've posted a few days ago, and some of you were wondering how I did it and how I got it to look as consistent as it does. I mean, obviously it still has some issues, but I guess it is a nice step forward to what we have seen a couple months ago. And yeah, so I just want to guide you guys through the whole process of creating one clip, basically inside of automatic1111 using a custom trained model. In this case, it's a still unreleased beta version of Noosphere v4, but you should be able to create something very similar with the already released Noosphere v3. I'm going to link the address where you can download it in the description. So the first thing that you will need, I mean, obviously you have to have automatic1111 already set up and everything. Is an extension that is called animateDiff. So if we go to extensions here, it might already be available here. Let's have a look. Load from, let's not filter for already installed, and then look for animateDiff, and yes, there it is. So just look for animateDiff and then install it, and then you will also have to download the motion modules and the model itself. So if you guys do a quick Google search, you will find tutorials how to do that. There are like lots out there on YouTube. Otherwise, I will also link another video to yeah, give you an example of one of the tutorials that that I've used to get into it. So this is basically going to be text to image only. So in this case, none of the clips have been created by rendering the AI image on top of a real recorded video. So that is not the case here. It is purely synthetic, purely prompt based, and yeah, no extra step needed really. It just works. If animateDiff likes your prompt, it's going to already produce some nice results. So I'm not going to write the prompt from scratch, since that could take quite a while to find something working. And what I've done basically is really just grab a prompt from one of my still image generations, and in a lot of cases that's already enough, and then you just enable animateDiff here, and it mostly does all the magic already on its own. One thing to bear in mind is right now 16 frames, which is the default, really works well to produce good results. Anything higher I haven't experimented with too much so far, but I didn't get good results. I tried, for example, 32 frames, which is the maximum that you can use, and yeah, it it didn't produce really good results, so I would keep it at 16 for now. And I'm hoping in the future they will have a model that will be able to handle higher frame numbers. So yeah, let's get started. So the clips that I am going to show you that I've done is gonna be first off this one here, the opening shot. This. So for that, let me grab the prompt first. So how we can do that is really just go to PNG INFO here, which is installed by default, and then just drag and drop one of those images in there, and then here we have all the parameters, and then just click to send to text to image, and then it populates everything there. And I am using a 4090 RTX, and I'm only able to upscale by 1.4 until I'm running out of VRAM. So depending on your configuration, you might not even be able to. I guess with some of the command line arguments like mat VRAM, it could work, but I haven't tested out. So yeah, this is basically what works for a 4090 with 24 gigabytes of VRAM. So I don't know why I've used Euler sampler in this case, but for some reason animateDiff seems to really like it, and it's producing really nice animations with it. You can obviously try the other samples as well, but for some reason this worked really well for me. And yeah, otherwise really nothing special here. Sampling steps right now at 25, but I found out if the sampling steps are too low, there can be like jumps in between, you know, like poses. So I would recommend, if that's the case for you, to try to increase a little bit to have like more frames in between movements. And yeah, I have then here the upscaler, which for the first test I'm going to disable to just have a faster preview. And also I'm using stable diffusion 1.5 right now because that's the only stable diffusion version that animateDiff works with right now. And yeah, so let's first generate an image without animateDiff to just get an idea how a still image would look like. For that purpose, I am going to enable after detailer. Let's try this. And yeah, let's just, I guess, with the high-res fix, click generate and see what we get. So this is the still image that I'm getting from this prompt. And let's see if that is going to look, I mean, let's see if it's going to look anything like it with animateDiff enabled. So let's quickly enable the checkbox here. And I'm really leaving everything else at default right now. Yes. So let's just click generate and see what comes out. This is also not going to take a lot of time, maybe up to a minute or so. Actually, in this case, no, I forgot to disable the upscaler, the high-res fix, so this is definitely going to take a little bit longer. So let's wait and see. And yeah, I will also provide you guys those sample PNGs that will have the generation data. And just to get started, you can then just grab it and use my prompt and then just, you know, modify the keywords and the main part of the prompt just to your needs, and then you should get something similarly in the quality goal, yeah, in that ballpark for sure. And then here we are. So this is the GIF preview that it is giving us. And you can see there's like some oddities with the legs going on. And I have noticed upping the sampling steps can help with that. Let's just try that real quick. Like slowly, let's try with 30 first. Yeah, I think now it already looks like less jumpy. Maybe let's try 35. The thing is, if you go way too high with the sampling steps, the animation is actually going to change. Actually, in this case, I can see it already is. So maybe let's leave it at whatever it was, 26 or 25, I guess. Because yeah, we don't want to actually the motion to change too much. So this is my point. If you increase the sampling steps too high, the overall animation might change. And if you were already overall happy with the previous results, then yeah, that can be an issue. So this is something to be mindful about. Yeah, so we have the GIF and then also the generated images themselves. And as you guys can see, the face looks not as we would like it to be. So what I'm doing next is I am grabbing the images, and then inside image to image, I'm actually using after detailer to fix the face. So let's do that next real quick. So let me just first open the generated images. So I'm guessing it was these ones, the previous ones that I wanted to use. So now here are the images inside the outputs folder, text to image, images, today's date. And then what I usually do is I create a folder and call it like clip 1, for example. And then I'm just grabbing all the images, Control X to cut, and then in the folder Control V. So this is kind of important that you put all the images into one folder, because otherwise if I would do the image to image batch process in here, it would just do all the images, and I don't want that. So now we got them in here, and one other problem is the naming is an issue, not right now but later. So before I even actually, yeah, let's not worry about that right now, because it's going to produce a new folder and new images, and then we can rename those. So let's copy now this path and go back to automatic1111, and then we go to image to image. And before that, let's also send all this data to image, which is here, this button. Nice. And then we don't want that image, but let's just put one of the actual generations in there. Now what I do is in the settings here, so what we want to do first is click this button to get the resolution if it's not passed on already. Actually, 1 second. Maybe this is not the right resolution. $760. Oh, it is actually. Okay, good. So this is the right resolution, just to make sure. And then what you want to do is you want to set the denoising strength to 0, because we don't want to change anything else, because once you start to do that, it's going to start to lose cohesiveness in the frames, and it's going to start to morph and flicker a lot. So we really just want to focus on the face, so that's why the denoising strength is 0. And the seed is not important at all, so let's just set it to -1. And then we want to enable after detailer. And what I figured is, in the first, I like to use the second one. That seems to be a little bit more consistent. And then in the second, I like to use hand. And then let's set the inpainting settings. Denoising, I like to lower a little bit for the hands. Otherwise, you might get some very pronounced hand details. And for a lady, it could be a little bit too much. And then in the first one, we can start with 0.4 for the denoising strength, just to see. And I also like to up the in-paint mask blur a little bit on both. And make sure animateDiff is disabled. And yeah, let's give this a quick gen to see what comes out. So this is the result, which looks kind of similar to what I had in my video. So I guess we can go with that. 1 second, the hands are not improving somehow. It can be if the hands are looking too abstract that after detailer won't be able to detect it. Second hand, let's maybe try to increase this a little bit. Okay, it's skipping the hands, but that's okay for now. And this looks pretty good actually, at least the face. Now we can go to the second step. Since we like the result, we can then now switch here to batch, and then we just paste in the folder with the images. And then in the output directory, I just paste the same, but then add another folder here. And now, yeah, we can now just click generate, and then it's going to go through all the images. It could be that we have to do this process a few times. Sometimes it happens that one face is like kind of jumping a little bit. And in that case, you can then just run the batch again. Just make sure that you have seed to -1, so it uses a different seed. So that will then, you know, otherwise if you have exactly the same seed, it's just going to produce the exact same issues that you had in the previous generation. And we can see here it actually did detect the hands sometimes. Now we can go here into the folder already, and we can see the images are being generated, and while it's still added, we can just already have a look at it's on some of the images to see if they're fine. And this actually doesn't look too bad. You see on the forehead is a jump. Therefore, I am just going to run it again. So we can actually cancel this, but it already finished it. So I'm just going to delete these and then really just hit generate again. And if we're still seeing jumps in there, we can start to try reduce the denoising of the after detailer for the face a little bit further. Let's already check here. Yeah, we can see there's like some stuff generating on her forehead. So maybe let's actually try to decrease the denoising a little bit. So here, oops, I think it's bugging out a little bit. Oh. Yeah, it's bugging out right now, so we can just go here to settings, or in this case we can't, or just reload the page. Okay, now it's working again, but somehow the generation data got lost, so we can just use one of our previous generation images to in PNG INFO to get the prompt back. There we go. And now we have to double check if one second. The resolution is not really correct here. Oh, sorry, I sent it here, of course. Oh yeah, maybe it was not this one. One moment. But I think it should be fine. Yeah, so let's just do that. Set this to image, and then make sure the after detailer is set properly again. So in painting, yeah, so we want to reduce it, so let's do that. And the same here for the hands. Make sure it's set to a little bit lower. 2.5 I think I've used last time. animateDiff is off. Let's just quickly do another test. Gen. Yeah, that looks similar. I'm just wondering if that is really the last resolution we used, but it's fine. We can just go with that. It looks a little bit more blurry, but that's perfectly fine. We're going to upscale it later. And now let's try the batch process again. So let's put here that and generate. Yeah, this seems to look a bit more consistent now. No jumping so far on the forehead. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. if some of those things here bother you on the forehead, you can try to, with the prompting, with the negative prompt, to tell it to don't put anything on the skin, but, or in Photoshop, just use the healing brushes to paint them out. So that's your choice. Okay, so we have all these images now with the face restored, looking pretty good. And the next step now is to first rename the images, because we want to load it as an image sequence and this naming won't work. So for that I'm using a tool that you can just download for free, bulk rename utility. So then we just grab this folder and then paste it in here. And now I just select them all. And then what we want to do is here remove all characters basically. And then you can here under add put in the prefix like whatever. I'm just going to call it image dot. And then here under numbering suffix padding, let's set it to 5. And this is what you want. So it's like image dot and then the frame number and then dot the extension. This is going to work, and then just hit rename. Done. And what we want to do now is we need to basically what I did is because it's only 16 frames, it's like super choppy, right? So what I want is to convert it to 60 frames per second, so we have a nice and butter smooth animation of it. So for that, I'm going to use Topaz Video AI. Highly recommended. There's a feature in DaVinci Resolve that does it too, but it is not as good. It's like kind of creating jumpy motion and so on. I haven't played around with it too much, but this works pretty well right out the box. So what I do now is I would normally use a preset, but I'm going to show you guys how to set things up from scratch here. So first what we want to do is set set the frame range, frame rate to 60. And then resolution, I want already 2 times upscaled. Maybe we can try 4. Okay, that's maybe a bit too high, but that's fine. Let's try 4. And then the next thing you want to do is go under frame interpolation and then set it to slow motion 3x I used in this case, and then I left all the other settings by default. Enhancement also left all of this by default. If you want to see the results first before you want to save the video, you can click on preview here, and then it's going to create a 2-second preview of the result. Yeah, let's just quickly do that and check how it's going to look like before we continue. And here we are. Now we can just press play to see. And we can actually see the slow-mo in this case is actually too slow. So we actually want it then maybe 2 times slower. Let's just do a quick two times. Oh, actually, yeah, the upscale, let's leave it original because I just want to quickly see the preview. Now let's hit it. So this is going to process just way faster. Yeah, that's going to be better. Yeah, I think this was the kind of the correct speed that I had previously. And we can even retime it later inside of DaVinci Resolve, which I'm going to use after this. So yeah, I think these settings are great. Now let's just set the upscaler back to 4x. Let's just leave it at, yeah, 4x is good. And now all we have to do is change some settings here. I like to not use ProRes in this case. I mean, the quality is not that high that you would need it, and it's just way bigger. So I like to use H.264 and quality level high, and then export as, and then it will already like kind of select the clip1 folder that you had there. And I guess it makes more sense to just dump it all into the parent folder, so you can just select them easier and put them into DaVinci Resolve more conveniently, rather than, you know, going through folders trying to find your clip, just to keep the steps down. And this is almost done. Now let's have a quick look how it turned out. Looking pretty neat. So now we can go to the next step in DaVinci Resolve. Let me quickly launch that. And what we want to do first is we want to change the settings of the project to reflect the resolution that we have here. So let's go there, project setting, right click, project settings, and then here, what do we have? 2176 by 2688. And then frame rate 60 FPS, and then just save. Double click. And then now we can straight go here to the edit menu and grab our clip here and then drag it in. Yes. And now if we play it, we can see it's nicely moving. And then what I've also done is I've added like an extra kind of slow-mo at the end. We can do that real quick here too. Right click and then retime controls. And then we how did that work? I think I had to like, yeah, retime curve. That's right. So we enable the retime curve, and then with middle mouse you can like pan here, or you can just increase this, I guess. Yes. And then here we have this, and then what you need to do is you go here on this straight curve, and then you press Alt click. That's going to add another point here, and then now you have like two of these speed controls here, percentage. And then what you want to do is change this one here to the speed that you want for it, for the last portion. So we want it to be slower, so that's why you have to then lower the speed here in percentage. So let's try like 50. And try to like, oh yeah, we changed already, and now let's just have a look how it looks. So that's how it looks. Let's set this here to, where was it? To, oh yeah, here, to loop. And then let me quickly expand this here. But it's not creating any extra frames right now. Also, if you find it like too harsh, because right now the interpolation is stepped, it is literally like immediately switching from one speed to the other, from one frame to the other, which could be harsh in some instances. What you can do is select this point, and then you can click here, and then it's going to produce a smoother curve with yeah, with like interpolation. And now we can have another look. Maybe that's a bit too smooth, then we can just select here one of those handles and then click and move them to the right to make it, you know, smaller, the interpolation range. And I think that works here pretty well. And then what you want to do next is also select your clip, and then on the right side here under retime and scaling, I would set the retime process to optical flow. In motion estimation, I usually set to enhanced better. I'm not sure if that does much. I'm not a DaVinci Resolve Pro by any means. And now when it's going to slow-mo, it's then also going to generate extra frames so that it doesn't hold 2 frames because we only have 60, and then if it's halved, it's going to be 30, right? So now let's play it back again. I think it's not very noticeable because it's kind of has to in real time generate, but it is actually doing its job there. So once we actually render out the video, it is going to look super smooth. So that's what I've done here. And yeah, what I want to do now is I want to show you guys how to generate like an extra image. So because of, I mean an extra clip, because of my prompting style, every generation is going to produce a very different result. Because if you take a quick look at my prompt, you will see the main part here says a beautiful alluring Asian woman, and then I have like a majicmix Loras in here to get that Asian face look. And then I'm describing her with long flowy hair and brown eyes, ruled by the divine powers of the underworld, wearing beautiful modest fantasy attire. And then flawless skin, melancholic woman wearing garment, and then eye color, death stare, extremely long flowy hair, cloth swirling in the wind, atmospheric storming turbulence wind, full body shot, disturbance, cool temperature colors because it was getting a little bit too red, it still is. And then I have that detail Lora that is like kind of boosting the detail in the images, but not like the classic detail Lora that we had, which is like kind of just making the image a bit more contrasty. This is actually like adding in extra details. Anyway, but you might have noticed from my prompting style, I am like extremely vague with the descriptions, and that is actually very intentional. I'm basically just implying certain things, basically just kind of like, you know, creating kind of like a recipe, but not being extremely specific with things because I want to actually leave a lot of room for imagination, for stable diffusion itself to come up with ideas how to kind of, you know, turn the idea around. And I really like that because when you do that, it's then producing different results every generation. And that is perfectly fine for me because I'm really just trying to be creative, creating like beautiful images, beautiful motion, and the fact that it's creating, you know, very different variations from it is exactly what I want, basically. And what I'm doing then is I'm just like generating a bunch of clips and then looking through all of them, and a lot of them are actually not good, not usable. Either the animation is not very good or the hands are extremely broken. And I'm just really generating, or if I feel like it's not, you know, yielding enough good results, then I'm looking into modifying my prompt a little bit to have more consistently good results. And in this case, as I said, all you have to do is really just set the seed to random, and then it's going to generate very different results in each generation. And this is basically how all my all the clips in the video have been produced. It was like a single clip that was producing then all those different results. And also I'm guessing the weighting of the keywords is kind of like on the line of is it going to be you know, taken into consideration in the generation or not, kind of on the edge. And depending on the seed, it seems to then like grab one keyword and leave out other keywords. And I'm guessing that's what's also causing or adding to the very varied results. So let's really just generate a bunch of clips. So we're basically going to add a brand new clip into it that hasn't been seen in the video yet, so that you guys can kind of get an idea how I create the new clips. Let's just click generate now and see what we get. Actually, we have to do it here. And it's hanging again. Let's reload the interface again. Not sure why this is happening. It could be because of OBS, which I'm using for recording. It was never happening before that, so it could be that it has something to do with that. So just to be sure, let's go to PNG INFO again and send it here to make sure everything is the same. Seed, as I said, to -1 to be random each generation. animateDiff is turned on. High-res fix, let's leave it off for the time being, and then when we see, oh yeah, this is good, then we can regenerate it with the high-res fix. So let's have a look here. Surprisingly, it's quite a similar result. Let's just play around a little bit with the weights of the Loras here. The detail slider I'm going to set to 1.5 from previously from 2. And maybe here the majicmix Lora, let's just set it to 0.1 less. And let's generate again. This is often just what it really takes to, you know, change things up a little bit. And as we can see, yes, and I can also see that this is not going to be a good one. It's going to be doing something odd. Yes, so let's just click generate again. And as you guys can see, there's like a lot of motion in the hair, and I'm guessing that animateDiff is also taking into consideration keywords that would encourage motion. So as you guys saw, I have like, for example, hair and cloth swirling in the wind, which is kind of implying that it's emotion. And yeah, surprisingly, this is also pretty similar. Let's reduce the CFG scale a little bit. And one other thing that I like to do a lot is if I want really varied results, I really often like to work with clip skip 4. I do that a lot. Yes, so just as a side note. Okay, so this is different. Let's just generate another one. Okay, let's cancel that. That's already going to look pretty similar. Now let's just be cheeky and raise clip skip to 3. Nice animation here though. This also looks pretty similar. Let's go to clip skip 4. Yeah, so this looks quite a bit different now. And then if you guys feel like a lot of similar results, you can also try a different sampling method. So this produced that. Let's see what, for example, the all-time favorite DPM++ 2M Keras does. So yeah, I do that a lot. I play with the sampling methods. I play around with the CFG scale, clip skip. Yeah, clip skip is a big one. So I'm really utilizing. The higher you go with the clip skip, the more kind of random the results can get. Like not based on your prompt as much anymore. But I really like to play with those things. So here we have a problem where she has like a double arm, but it's already nice. It's like very different than what we had previously. So let's just generate another one to see if we're more lucky next time. Okay, her hands are not great, so let's just try another one. It's just fixing hands is always kind of a hassle. It's just really breaking the flow of this whole workflow, even if the rest is amazing. I just often feel like just generating more results kind of is more straightforward. That doesn't look too bad. Let's just generate another one. Maybe these are all a bit too close up. So I want to use a Lora, a zoom slider Lora. Now with this, we could potentially just, zoom out a little bit. Let's see if we're able to. I guess minus is going to zoom out further. Let's see. Oh yes, zoomed out a lot. Maybe 0.5. So I really like these slider Loras. On Civitai, you have like tons of those that can like control certain aspects of your image, like bigger eyes or age, body weight, and stuff like that. Really helpful. Then you don't have to, kind of try to enforce it with a prompt. But yeah, it seems to zoom out quite a lot now. Let's try minus 0.1 for the next one. Nice extra people here in the background. Love that. Still zoomed out too much. Let's try this now. If this is still zooming out too much, I'm just going to remove that Lora. Okay, yeah, maybe it's just too sensitive. We don't know. I will just remove it and see what we get. Could have also been just bad luck that those seats that have been picked at that point in time were all just very close up, and I think that's the case because now even without the Lora it's like zoomed out further than the previous generations. So yeah, this is good. I guess this is not too bad. And I think this is generally a lovely generation, something that I might use as well. So let's go with this one, a brand new one. So now we go back into the generation folder. But before we do that, let's do another version with high res. So if you find a clip that you like, you just then click on here, this button to reuse that seed. And then we're gonna regenerate the same with just the high res enabled to get a little bit more better quality. And as you guys can see now, it takes way longer. Yeah, because you have to imagine this increase in resolution, it's gonna not be applied to just one image, but like 16 images. And I'm guessing it's processing all these 16 images at the same time, loading them all into the VRAM. Let's check how much VRAM is currently being used. And as you can see, just before it was already at 21 gigabyte of VRAM. And then here we are with a bit better quality. Very nice. Now we just do the same procedure again as previously. We grab those 16 images, then Control X, create a new folder, clip 2, paste them in there, copy, and then go to image to image. Make sure to send this to have the prompt in there. Put one of the images in there, and then seed -1, enable add detailer, set it the in painting value 0.4, and then for the hands 0.25. And the resolution here, actually, you can change to 768 if you want. This is like still something that Stable Diffusion supports. Actually, with the lower denoising strength, you can even go pretty high, like whatever, 1600. As long as the denoising strength is not too big, it's gonna be all right. But I think 768 is fine. It's like a tiny face here inside the whole image. So denoising strength is 0. This should all work already. Yeah, let's just do a quick test gen to see what we will get. But in my case, actually, what I did is I used majicmix. Don't forget to press this button to get the right resolution. Otherwise, you will get this weird stretching on the sides. So as I said, for the faces, I actually used a custom model. You can actually define it down here in the after detailer. Use separate checkpoint. And then here we can just, oh, second, no. We want it for the first. Oh, we have to switch to first here. Mask blur, let's not forget. And then use separate checkpoint. And then majicmix, whatever. Let's try this maybe. Enabled and generate. Looking great. Now we can just go to batch here again. Update folder. And then just click generate. Now again, while it's running, I'm going to already take a peek here, because while it's generating, if it's doing something bad in the first images, you can then already just cancel it and then adjust the settings and try again to get better results. So I usually wait for 3 frames and then go through them. So you can already see there's a little bit of wobbling going on here. So I definitely want to lower the denoising in the after detailer. Let's try 3. But before that, let's just do it on a single image to make sure it's going to look good. But unfortunately, it's hanging now again. So I'm just going to click generate. Still looking good. Yeah, I can already see there's like less of this wobbling going on. Because after detailer at the end of the day is not really aware of that we're doing an animation. It's just doing its single frame in painting kind of thing. So that can very quickly introduce some wobbliness. We have some wobbliness here, but there are some tools that we can use to fix the jittering a little bit, which we're going to utilize after. So let's just let this finish. I know there's like a little issue here, but I'm just going to ignore it in this case. Just for demonstration purposes. Odd stuff going on in the hands. And I also actually sometimes, if it's this severe, I will go in and in Photoshop just paint this stuff out by hand. I figured it's just way faster than, I don't know, trying to use control net and then the depth thing and trying to pose the hand to match there. It's just kind of a hassle right now. Almost done. All right, all frames there. There's one extra frame at the end. Let's delete it. Okay, this looks pretty decent. Now we do the bulk rename thing again. The bulk rename tool has a little bit of a quirk, like it doesn't update the folders that are being created new. So you have to like, as you can see, clip 1 is 2 is not there. So you just close it and reopen it, and then there it is. And then all the settings are still working. Rename. Now then again, we go to 2 video AI, Control V to close the current clip, and then just drag in the new one. As you can see, it all works. And I already saved a preset for this. So I'm going to select that directly here. And though I still have to change this by hand, export as, and the parent directory save. Oh, I guess we actually upscaled it to 4 times, didn't we? Let's... actually, I don't think so. All good. We can just... It should just scale correctly inside of DaVinci Resolve regardless. All right. Now we go back down here and we can see, or we can't see. There should be a new clip. Can't find the clip. Let's do it again, I guess. Oh, already there. See. Curious. Let's just call this X and save it again. Seems to be there though. So now I saved it again. There it is. That's the old one. This is now the new one. Sweet. Now let's just drop it into DaVinci Resolve. So the first clip and then the second clip. And if it's even like too fast, we can just enable the retime controls here and then reduce the speed a little bit. And then again, do the thing where we have the retime and then optical flow. Enhance better for the motion estimation. It's gonna kind of look laggy because it's doing it in real time. So gonna see the good results afterwards. And then this is really basically it. And then all the other stuff is like adding a vignette and whatnot. This is stuff that everybody should, I guess, figure out for themselves. It's not really part of this tutorial. But yeah, so now we have recreated the clip that we had previously already seen in the original video, and we added a new video in here, new clip. So yeah, this is basically the whole process. And then obviously you can then also add some extra music to your liking. So in my case, it was this one over here. Yeah, so not very difficult at all. It's really just knowing how to use these new extensions, and the rest is really just playing around and just really following your own creativity. As I said, I'm going to link all the necessary links in the video description so you guys can easily follow all of the steps that I've shown here and get all the resources like the Loras and how to install animateDiff or how to get started with installing automatic1111 and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, this is it, and yeah, see you guys in the next video.